and it has this little issue. Well, oh Black Betty Ramalama. How pretty is that? This one comes to me from a local church. The person that plays it leaves it there full time. And it might have taken a knock from some young hooligans running around after service. So it has some issues that need fixing. I haven't really shown many fixes on my channel lately. I've done fixes on guitars recently, but I don't find the guitars interesting enough to film them. This one I did find interesting enough because this or its Gibson equivalent were one of my dream guitars growing up. And here it is. There's like something about the three humbuckers that say you're about to hear something substantial. Business is going down. So let's look at what's ailing it. So I was told that the jack was broken off, but I think it's just lost its nut and washer. I'll have a closer look at that. And it has this little issue. I only remember seeing that problem once years ago, and I can't recall how I fixed it, so I'll have a look into that one too. I also want to clean the potentiometers, oil the fretboard, give it a good cleaning, check the string height, intonation. That should cover it, so let's do it. Start by taking the jack cover off here. I want to make sure that the jack works. Get a nut and a washer on there. Maybe some sort of little perforated lock washer for the back. A couple lock washers back there. Let's plug it in, make sure it's working. So all the pots sound good, but the switch is awful clicky. So the switch does work, but again, it doesn't want to hold on the bridge position. So this is all good. I'm going to get myself a nut and a washer. Make sure that's nice and tight. Bring a handful out here. I don't know which one I'm going to need. I feel like walking across the room to keep finding the one I need. So let's do a washer, a lock washer, got one that fits on that side. That's pretty good. Let's just a smaller one. Jack's working, it's nice and solid. I'm going to move on to the switch here. Sometimes it stays, and you touch it, it goes away. The switch we're having problems with is on that side. So this isn't being held out enough by that. If you notice when we flip to this side, the bottom of the switch here rides really far up on the tab. And when you go to this side, it only catches maybe a third of the tab. That's about half. I'm looking at this white shaft right here. It's a better pointer. I'm looking at this white shaft right here and where it meets the flat part of this metal tab. And right where the metal bends there, we're using about half of that shaft, a little more than half. We switch it to this side, it's just touching the front third. So I believe that that needs to go have a little bit more swing, and I don't know if you could do that. Is it not going enough to this side? There's also an adjustment here we can make on the tabs, but you want to be really careful with those. I actually want to see if we take off the top, will we be able to move it? Oh, it's on there. What I want to see is if, yeah, so you get plenty of throw without this. You get more than enough throw to hold your thing there. So if you don't screw that all the way down tight, you have plenty of throw. I think what I want to do is maybe take a little bit of meat out of the edge of this. Just kind of round that over a little bit so that you can put that all the way down, but the edge lip of this doesn't hit the edge of your switch, so you get plenty of throw. If we look here now, you can see the white shaft rides up there on the metal. You get more so there. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. Get a little sandpaper. Just going to keep going around on the edge of this. Try to, narrow it down like a pencil. And maybe take a little bit off the end here so that you can seat this all the way down. So that whole thing was the length of the bottom of this switch. It just wasn't allowing it to get its full throw. So that works perfectly now. I'm going to take this plastic back off. I'm going to get my Dremel out, try to polish up the end there where I sanded, make it shiny again. Should work good. Reinstall that. I can move forward. I got the switch back on there. It kind of shined up a little bit. I ended up taking maybe a millimeter off the bottom down here of the black part, and that allows it to get the full throw that it needs to lock in place. Pretty easy fix. So I'm going to reinstall this. I need to make sure that the downwards throw is in the bridge position when it goes down, when I put it in. So let me do that. Alright, so it's down, we should be getting the bridge. Yep. It's up, we should be getting the neck. Yep. Middle, we should be getting the middle. Good. Button that up. Nice. I want to hit this with a little bit of deoxit before I button it up. Should be good. So I neglected to ask what gauge strings he liked to have on here. So you can figure that out. 10. I don't know if you can see that. 46. I got those. So this has a really good setup on it right now, but it does need a cleanup, so I'm going to take the strings off. I'm going to go through the fretboard, maybe give it some oil. It's an Epiphone, so I don't think there's going to be anything wrong with the frets. But I will check them while I'm there. So let's get to cleaning it up. As I suspected, this is an Epiphone. Those frets are fine. But they are a little dirty, so I'm just going to give them a light polish with the fret guard there. That was a small amount of orange oil just to get the finger fudge and the leftover polishing off. So that's way cleaner now. I'm going to hit that with the Howard Feed and Wax. It's got all the vitamins, nutrients, and bee vomit your fretboard needs. I'm going to put a couple drops right down. I'm going to kind of spread it out and let it sit for like 10 minutes. If it really just evaporates right off, I'll do another coat. If that's good, you can just kind of polish it down and you're good. This is a 2006, by the way, made in China. So there, I got to kind of spread out, kind of see my brush strokes, so to say. I'm going to leave that on there. If it was an oil, I wouldn't want to leave it on there. I'd want to wipe it off right away. But this kind of more soaks in the oils that are in there, but sits on top. So I'll let that sit for a little bit, 10 minutes, dry off, and then I can polish it out. Start doing some cleaning on the body. It'll be way easier just to have the pick guard out of the way. It's 2 screws, and then I can get a really good cleaning underneath it. This one isn't really that dirty. Got some dust and some fingerprints on it. That's about it. So I'm just going to use some lightweight glass cleaner with Sprayway to get any of that stuff off. And then we'll use some spray wax, give it a nice shine. Smell good too. So yeah, just some Sprayway glass cleaner. I like to use the Sprayway because it doesn't have any vinegar. It's not a vinegar base. Vinegar has its place in cleaning, but it could have a reaction. If you used a Windex, say, you might have a reaction on these pickups. A little more detail on those in a bit. Get the majority of the junk off it. A little elbow grease and paper towel is about as abrasive as I want to go with that, you know. More on this. Move on to some spray and wax. Just a little bit of that. Rub that in. Nice and shiny and smell good. Heck yeah. Smells like bubble gum. Well, I got the playability dialed right in, and this guitar is pretty flawless. The face of it is perfect. The back of it is even perfect. It doesn't really have any buckle rash or anything like that on there. One spot I'm seeing is right up here in the headstock. It's a little nick. It's actually not gouged or anything, and maybe that's what they were talking about when it got knocked over. But being that, you know, it's an Epiphone, we're lucky it didn't snap there, right? So since it's just this little nick, you're not going to think any less of me if I use some paint pen to fill that in, right? Cool. If this was a vintage Abbey or Gibson, of course I would leave this. Just a little bit so it looks good. Cool. Spot here too. Alright, I'll let that dry. Give it a run through. Middle pickup has sustain like forever. This middle one. Yeah, this is a nice guitar. There you are, a couple quick fixes on a Les Paul. If your switch isn't going into position and just popping back on its own, it could be that your plastic topper is just too long and is obstructing the switch from getting its full throw and going into its position. So start there, and yeah, that was an easy fix. Thing plays fantastic. It feels like $1,000,000, and it's got its Sunday best, so I'm going to get it back to the church and get it back into service. No pun intended. Yeah, I want to thank you for joining me. Give me a thumbs up for filming it for you, and we'll talk again soon.